Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, it's Littlefinger. Hey, finally, a new tank review. Yes, the AMX AC 48, which is the French Tier 8 tank destroyer. You can see it here in the garage. A few things about this tank that you'll notice right off the bat. Wonderfully sloped frontal armor with 150 mil of armor, meaning that any shot straight on has at about effective armor of around 220 mil. You're going to get a lot of bounces from this tank. However, the hatches on the top are weak spots, so wiggling, jiggling in this tank is a necessity. Also, on the sides and back, only 40 mil, so you are an HE target if you don't keep people in front of you. It does have a nice top speed of 50 kilometers per hour, and I'll go into a little bit of how I play this tank a little bit later. First, I just want to look at the tech tree here. You can see Tier 8 AMX AC 48. We've got the Foch and the Foch 155. Everybody knows about the new autoloader, September 2019, and that autoloader's been out for a little while, so you've probably seen it if you've played in Tier 10 battles. Equipment, just real quick, obviously that's the most important here, and this is what I'm running. Gun rammer, improved modules, camouflage net, enhanced gun lane drive, the enhanced armor that's going to help out with that front, engine accelerator, and refined gun, and you can see we can get that dispersion down below 0.3, which is really good. Ammunition, just a standard loadout. You're never going to need 17 rounds of APCR or 16 rounds of HE, but this is just the way I distributed it. And then, of course, we've got hot coffee, protective kit, standard fuel, and then consumables for me. This is how I run every tank, basically, with the repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. All right, guys, here is blitzstars.com. We've got the AMX to the left, and most of the non-premium, non-turreted Tier 8 TDs to the right there. First thing is going to jump out at you is DPM 2208. It is the lowest there of these tanks. Now, keep in mind, in my opinion, DPM is not the end-all, be-all as far as numbers go looking at this tank on paper, because that means you've got to be out there actively shooting, actively penetrating every single shot to make that DPM number work, and that's never the case in this game. So let's look at some of the other important numbers. Penetration 260. Outside of ISU, we are close to the top. Shell velocity 1,000. The top, best in class. Aim time 1.9, best in class. Dispersion, even though it's right in the middle here, we know that we can use equipment, get it below 0.3, which is really good. You've got 6 degrees of gun depression and 10 degrees of arc aiming without having to move the tank and reset your camo net. So to me, this shouted that this TD was a sniping TD, and that's how I initially played it. The grind is pretty long. I'll talk about that in a minute. I think you start out with a 90 millimeter gun, then 100, and then 120 millimeter gun. So you've got to go research 3 guns, 3 engines, I believe, and 2 tracks. Took me 160 games to research the Foch. So, like I said, that's how I first played this game, and I really wasn't that effective. I had a win rate about 50. Once I got the equipment on and started playing this tank more aggressively, I got my win rate in this tank up to 60. Partly because I started using it more aggressively, using that 50 kilometers per hour top speed, and using that frontal armor of 150, like I said, effective armor of over 200 if you can get in the face of your enemy without getting shot from the side. Just real quick on these numbers, you can see we've got a lot of players playing this tank right now. Obviously, they're grinding up for the Foch 155. But looking at this, I would agree. ISU is your best at this tier. It's the most fun. The Jagdpanther 2 used to be the best in my opinion, but with the pen numbers not being as good, it's still a fun tank to play. Those 2 would be my top 2 there. So let's take a look at some armor. All right, guys, here is Armor Inspector. This is an app. It does have a membership, but it is highly worth it to look at the strengths and weaknesses of your tanks. So you can see I've got the Panther 2 with a regular AP round lined up facing our AMX AC 48, and we see a lot of red. Well, we've got 150 mil of armor, and with that being angled, you can see here we are over 200 mil. Keep in mind we've got 6 degrees of gun depression, so we can get that up to almost 260 mil. Tier 9 TDs are going to have a hard time penning you there, but the downside is 150 on this hatch and 100 on this hatch. So you've got to keep moving. You can't really stay still if you are spotted. Alright guys, here's the first game I'm going to show you, and I think this really exemplifies the play style of this tank. Here we are on Normandy as top tier. Now initially what I'm going to do is go to the outside of the map into this little TD camping spot here and just let the game unfold. Keep in mind that this tank has a really nice top speed. We can maneuver ourselves into the battle as soon as we need to, but we want to make sure that we're trying to keep the targets in front of us, right? So oftentimes you'll see a tank up here in this area where I'm aiming, so I'm just trying to be as cautious as possible, but most of them are on the other side of the cap. So we're going to come on in, and that's when we spot. So we'll get one shot in off of that hill and back on down so he can't shoot us now. And since most of the team has pushed and pushed hard around the cap, I've decided to leave that guy in the camping spot, hoping that he doesn't push in and circle us. And I'm just going to be aggressive now and use this tank's wonderful armor and come in here and hopefully surprise some of these guys. So we've got an RHM. We're going to load HE, and we're going to do 475 in damage. I believe 500 is the average roll. And look at this. We can even get a ram kill out of this tank. Can't get his rear, so we're going to put that shot into just underneath the tracks there. Probably could have penned a little bit higher, but we've obviously got more armor to go through. We get a nice top of the line 500 roll for getting consecutive shots to penetrate, and now we're in on the IS, and look at that. There's our bounce. So a tier 7 heavy tank bounces. We were on a little bit of a slope, but he was aiming down at us as well. So now this guy has finally moved off of his camping spot. We get one shot in, and again, being aggressive, we're going to come in here, ram, and track him. He bounces that first one, bounces the second one. So you see what I mean here about being aggressive when the game calls for it. Unfortunately, we missed the shot into the ground, but we are going to get in the kill shot here at the end for an additional 200 damage, and we're going to finish just a hair over 3,000 damage there and 4 kills. So like I said, to me that is the play style of this tank. Sit back. If you can snipe, do so. If you've got a situation where you can push in and be aggressive, you can also do that in this tank. Second game I'm going to show you here is Noob. And yeah, not sure what to say about this map just yet. So far it's been pretty one-dimensional. Most battles are played over there in the hills. Tampa Bamf in this game. He is a regular contributor to the site. Really appreciate his help. We tune a good bit. But anyway, this team decides to go through, this port area, right? And so like I've done before, I'm staying on the outside as much as possible. We don't want too many surprises if we can help it. And we're just going to push on around here. So here we come up through their spawn now. And this team is really motoring on through. And Tampa says, yeah, the games have been better. I think what he is referring to is that most recent event where it was pretty miserable out. And I, I don't really want to get into it too much here, but this game has gotten a little bit out of hand with the number of players playing at this tier that really shouldn't be. And I'm going to leave it at that for right now. I might do a video later. But you can see here we're going to go after this Ferdinand. And this Ferdinand's got, it's a good tank. And you see there, we blocked the first one. We penned the first one, no problem, but we switch over to APCR. Back to AP now, and we're looking for our next target. They've got a guy up on the bridge there, so we're not going to go that way. And again, playing this tank rather aggressively. There's Tampa. We're going to set him on fire. Can't really help out this AT too much right now. There's another fire into the engine. Figure, I'm going to go get this, the Lupus, which is more formidable of a tank, in my opinion. And we're going to get up in his face here again. If you're going to shoot, you're going to have a hard time. I don't want to make this easy. See, I'm rocking back and forth, and sure enough, there's another bounce from a good tank. Little help there, but again, another bounce. We've blocked over 1,000 in damage in this tank. And it's difficult, and I really haven't talked about it too much, but the grind on this tank is pretty extensive. You've got 3 guns to grind through, the 90, the 100 to the 120, and you've also got 3 engines to grind through and 1 extra track. Now, I don't even have the extra track on it just yet, but so we're playing that without it. And I just bounced the gun up and down a little bit and snapshot that in for that second kill there. 2,500 damage. So you really can't have this play style until you upgrade your engine. But until then, it's a serviceable tank, sniping, and it does have fairly decent mobility if you don't have the top engine. So here on Rockfield, we're going to try this, basically the same strategy. We are going to set up close to the outside. I really don't like going deep outside on this map just because you can get trapped in here too easily. And especially in a non-turreted TD, it's going to be difficult to fight your way out. But we're going to use this bush for our cover. Ammo net is engaged. So we just throw 1 shot in there, hoping for the best. Here they come. Not really time there to switch over to HE. So unfortunately had to leave that shot on an AP round. He is showing just the top there, and we get that shot to go. So that's what I mean. This tank can snipe from a distance if you want. But again, there is a difference here between sniping and camping. Comes the mutant. We'll get a nice shot onto the side of him. And they are now pushing heavy on the outside. There's our first little bounce. And you can see being in cover here really helps. Being uphill helps. That lightweight kind of got in my way. But I don't want to pull out because I don't want to get shot by that RHM if he is still over there. And I'm just hoping for one of them pulls out. Showing me just the side cheek there. And we get that shot to go. Again, just displaying the accuracy on this gun. Hoping now for the best as we cross through, because we've got 2 tanks with 1 shot each. And they are taken out by the time we come around the corner. We're going to crest over this hill, aim in at the Helsing and miss. We bounce both of his shots, but unfortunately that RHM does get us. He is still sticking out through the rocks, so we'll finish him off there, but it comes at an expense of taking 2 more shots from the Helsing. So right now we are, essentially a one shot from the Helsing if both of them go, and our team has dwindled quickly, and it's 3-on-2. So now, what do we do here? We got to obviously reset our camo. We've got to identify where that second tank is. We knew Helsing, there they are. So now we can push around. And as I'm looking at this RU, I don't realize I'm going to drive up a very steep incline and, well, not drive up it, right? Yeah, bad driving there. But we are going to get here just in time to put an HE shot in and steal this kill. There we go. We got spotted in the process, so I'm backing back around the hill. And I figure this Helsing is looping around the map at this point in time. It's a Storm player, so I know he's a good player. And like I said, he could finish me off with his 1 clip, 2 shots, if they both go. So we're going to use this bush, and we're just going to set up and hope that he is coming around to this hill. Sure enough, there he is. And after we shoot, we back up. And look at that, another bounce. So 735 in block damage. It really does help to be able to block this much in damage. And again, I'm a one shot, so we're just going to be patient. And I've got both these SUs coming around the corner, so he's got to move, and we finish him off for 24-17 in damage. Showing you the accuracy of this gun on some really tough shots there. All right, guys, Desert Sands, bottom tier, and I'm going to fast forward most of this game because, what I do here is I set up to get some shots in down there and quickly realize that those heavies are going to be blocking me. We're not going to be able to get a good shot off, and that's when I noticed that our meds were in a little bit of a trouble here. And so when I make that decision to go after them, it was 2-on-2. They finished one of them off. And now it's a 1-on-1 situation. So I was trying to get in there to help, but it is unneeded. So anyway, we're using our nice 45, 50 kilometers per hour. And now we've got a TD on the flank. Our guys have done a pretty decent job in town, even though we are down a tank at this point, or 2. But we've got this RHM sitting here. Gonna load the HE, obviously, and get a second shot in here before he gets around the building, and he is taken out. So we're now 3-on-3, and we've got an ISU right there. He's angled. I can't get that shot in. Gonna let this other full health TD. He's gonna take a little bit of a beating there, but finishes off the ISU. Now, the point I wanted to show you this. We've got 2, count them, 2 heavies, tier 9 here, and I am on AP, and I still have plenty of places to pen. Look at that, 500 damage for consecutive shots landed, and we're going to be able to back up while this STI comes at us and straight through the wheel and finish him off without a problem. So the damage was only just shy of 2,000, but I wanted to show you that because that was with AP, not even with APCR. So this tank can hold its own against heavies at tier 9. But again, you've got to drive it on the outside of the map. So you've got to make sure you're not in any crossfire, and you've got to keep that tank pointed at your enemy, and you will get bounces. I promise you. Tier 8s, tier 9s, definitely tier 7s. So, like I said, I played this kind of as a sniper at first, grinded up the credits, got the upgraded gun and engine, and then I aggressively drove this tank, and I found that really helped my win rate. So, with that said, hopefully there's a few tips in there making this tank a little bit more enjoyable, helping you win more games in it. And yeah, enjoy yourself out there, guys. I'm going to have another video about the game, state of the game. Not too happy with things. Might be taking a break shortly. So we'll see where this goes. But for now, have fun out there. Stay safe. Get educated. Not fingered. Littlefinger out.